Hello everybody, welcome back to Grandma's Kitchen. I did start this recipe for you and unfortunately my camera shut off. So I'm just going to walk you through what I've done so far. This is Meatza Pie. You take 1.5 pounds of ground beef and you put it in a bowl with a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 3/4 of a cup of breadcrumbs, 1 cup of milk, and you mix it all together and then you evenly divide it into two 9-inch pie plates. This is like, instead of pie, it's Meatza Pie. It's the meat is your crust. So to that you take a can of spaghetti sauce and top it. This is what I did. It calls for tomato sauce, but then if you use tomato sauce you have to use garlic salt and pepper and oregano and stuff to season it. If you use spaghetti sauce, it's already seasoned for you, you're good. You don't have to do the extra. So that's why I use spaghetti sauce. Again, this topping is interchangeable. The one I did with mushrooms right here, and one without, because we have some people in our family that do not like mushrooms, so I'm going to leave that out. So then the next step to do this, after we've arranged the mushrooms, now we're going to sprinkle it with the Parmesan cheese. And it calls for 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. I usually don't measure that. I just sprinkle it till it's covered. So you just, thick or thin, like your taste. If you like extra cheese, then, go for it. When it calls for 2 tablespoons, 1 tablespoon per pie, that might not be enough for some people. It might not cover well. So I just go ahead and just sprinkle it on until it's covered. That way I go all the way around. I know it's all covered. It might be a little more than 2 tablespoons. I've actually never measured it out. I'm just shaking it on every single time. So there. Now to that you add 4 to 6 slices of mozzarella cheese or cheddar cheese. In today's instance we're using cheddar cheese because I am out of mozzarella cheese. Again, that's one of the nice things about this recipe. It's interchangeable. So we're just going to slice this, and this is brick cheese, so they're going to be little strips rather than slices. Doesn't matter. You're just going to put it on. You're going to cover the top of it with the cheese. You crisscross it on, and then you bake this in the oven for 20 minutes. That's it. That is all there is to it. It's super easy, super economical. You need cheese, hamburger, spaghetti sauce, mushrooms or not. That's an option. And sauce. That's it. That makes your main course. And then just have mashed potatoes or rice or pasta, whatever you choose for dinner. So I'm just going to lay these cheese slices onto the top. When you buy sliced cheese, I have sliced American cheese, but that's kind of like fake cheese, so we're not going to use that for this. If you go to your deli and you buy sliced cheese, then you crisscross it on to make it all over. But with this, because it's in strips, I'm just putting it all over the top of it. And I'm going to put it on the one with the mushrooms. You can use any kind of cheese you like. If you like mozzarella, use mozzarella. If you like cheddar, or if that's all you have, you can use the sliced American cheese if you want to. I think I've done that in a pinch if I really wanted to make this, and either I didn't have enough of the other cheese or I didn't have the brick or the mozzarella, and I used the sliced cheese. It's okay. It's, sorry for grilled cheese sandwiches pretty much, or ham and cheese, but you don't want to, it's not the best. So there, we're just going to top it with the cheese. A little more. There we go. So that is what your Meatza Pie looks like. There's one with just cheese, and there's one with the cheese and the mushrooms. So we're going to put this in the oven for 20 minutes. That's all it takes to cook. And while this is cooking, I'm going to make dessert. Now for dessert, we're going to have, this is a new recipe I came across. I was looking through my books and I came across this. This is Chocolate Surprise Muffins. So for this, I'm going to get my mixer. I didn't get my mixer out before I started, so let me just go and grab my mixer. Alrighty, now to do this, these are called Chocolate Surprise Muffins, and I'll let you know in a minute what the surprise is inside. So you grease your muffin tins or use the papers, and I'm using the papers because it's so much easier. Now where did I put my papers? Well, that would be good if I got them out. Okay, so I'm going to put my cupcake liners in. This makes a dozen cupcakes. I think it doesn't say, but usually they do. These are muffins slash cupcakes, because you can have chocolate muffins, I guess, chocolate chip, but they're called Chocolate Surprise Muffins. I'm going to use my family as guinea pigs tonight. We've never made this recipe before. I was just thumbing through a couple of my books trying to find something new, and I haven't forgot the one request for the, I think it's called Sex in a Pan pudding cake. I just haven't been able to get to the store to get the ingredients that I need for that. So never fear, Elaine, I will make that for you. I will get to the grocery store. There, so that is that. They are in there. And I'm going to show y'all a little bit of a tip that I learned, kind of an accident really. It was a while ago, and I had spilled some water and it went into my muffin pan. So what you do is you take just a drop of water and you put it down, and that holds, you see how these muffin tins are all up? You put a little tiny bit of water and it holds your muffins down, your muffin papers down. And you can like dip them like that into the boil of water. You see the difference? They're nice and down. This way when you put your batter in, it doesn't tip. The muffin papers don't tip, especially these coated ones. They're a little on the, I don't know, they're not just paper, they're coated. So this helps keep them down. It was kind of a happy accident because, you know, then I found a trick, because whenever you pour a spoonful or so of the batter, and if the muffin papers are up, then they tip. They sometimes tip when you're filling them. And of course these guys are going to make a liar out of me. They're popping right back out. But they're better. They're better than they were. So they're in. So now the first step we do with these is, got the grease, and I have my oven on because the pies are in there. Now we're going to have a package of cream cheese and 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to put that in a bowl. 2 tablespoons of sugar in, and you need to use your mixer, and you need to mix this up, beat it until it's nice and fluffy. If you soften your cream cheese out of the fridge, take it out of the fridge for just a couple of minutes and soften it up, or use the tub of cream cheese, then it's a lot easier to mix. And there we go. And my one beater flew out of there, so, you know, nothing new. So we're just going to take and scrape this off the beaters. And there it is, nice and fluffy. So that's all you do with that. You can, and then you just set that aside and go to your next step. Put my beaters in the sink. Alright, so now we need, in another large bowl, we're going to put in all of the dry ingredients. So we need 1 cup of flour. That's in. And 1/2 of a cup of white sugar. I'm glad I was looking for recipes that I didn't need brown sugar for, because tomorrow's grocery day and I don't have brown sugar, and I was trying to find something to make, because every single recipe I wanted to make called for brown sugar. I didn't have any. So there we go. That's the sugar and the flour. And now 3 tablespoons of cocoa. Come on, brand new sometimes you just have to open it. Okay, 3 tablespoons of cocoa. That's in. And 2 tablespoons. Ooh, 2 tablespoons of baking powder. Ooh, that's going to make them rise real big. 2 tablespoons of baking powder. In goes the baking powder. And 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt. And 1/2 a teaspoon of salt. So now you just take your wooden spoon and incorporate this all together. You don't beat it, you just mix it. So this is what it looks like. It's just all your dry ingredients. So now when you get it all mixed in, you don't want to see any flour or very little. You want it to be all a solid color, no lumps, no bumps. And then what you do is you make a well in it. You go like this, you just pull it apart and you make a well. You just make that opening right there. You make the hole. And to that we're going to add all of our wet ingredients. Okay, so we have to combine the egg, the milk, and the oil and then pour it in. So I'm going to put my egg into my measuring cup. And I'm going to give it a little mix because we want it to be beat up a little bit. It does say 1 egg beaten, so we're going to beat up the egg just a bit. And then we put 3/4 of a cup of milk into that. Three-fourths of a cup of milk goes into the oil, or sorry, the egg. And then 1/3 of a cup of oil that goes into your milk. Okay, 1/3 of a cup. So you put that into a mixing bowl, or I just use my measuring cup. Give it a little bit of a stir so kind of everything's a little bit mixed together. And into that well that you made right in. It'll go over a little bit, that's okay. So then what you do is you stir it just till it's moistened. It's going to be a lumpy batter. You don't want it smooth. Muffins you don't want smooth. And if you overmix muffins, they will have holes in the middle of them and it won't be a nice solid muffin. So you just gently stir it until all of your dry ingredients are mixed in. You can see that. You can see that it's got a lot of lumps in it, but that's what you want. That's okay. Muffins are like that. You just give it a stir all the way. Get your spoon right down and turn it over like you're folding ingredients in, because you want to make sure that all the flour and baking soda, everything is mixed in properly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 tablespoons of batter into each muffin tin. Okay, so switch sides with you so you can see how this process is done. So 2 tablespoons into each muffin tin. You don't want heaping tablespoons, you want just even ones, because you need the rest of the batter to go on top. So I guess you've all figured out what the surprise ingredient is. The surprise ingredient is the cream cheese. We're going to put this batter in, half of the batter, and I've got a little bit too much, I think. Half the batter in, and then you cover up the cream cheese. So when they bake, which is going to be tricky getting in there for 12 muffins. I did kind of heaping teaspoons, so I may have to take some out of a couple of them. Because after you put in the cream cheese, then we had more chocolate batter to cover, so you want at least a spoonful of chocolate batter left to cover each one. And I won't have enough if I make 12 muffins, so I'm going to take some out of the ones that are real full. There we go. I'm going to just take a little, put it in that one, and a little out of you, and put it there. We're really not going to have, you know what, I don't think I'm going to get a dozen. We're not going to have enough unless I take, I think it should have only been 1 tablespoon per. And then you can cover it up with another tablespoonful because there's not a lot left in this bowl here. Gonna get a little skimpy going on top. So what you do now is you take 1 teaspoon of the cream cheese filling. Just grab my spoon here. You take 1 teaspoon of cream cheese filling and put it in each one. I'm going to take a little out of this one here. So you take one nice teaspoon. I thought for a minute I wasn't going to need a whole package of cream cheese because I thought, man, you can just put a chunk of it in. But I can see that you will by using the batter. So you take a teaspoon of it, put it right down in there on top of your chocolate batter. It sounds kind of good, I gotta tell you. Cream cheese and chocolate go really well together. If you had chocolate cream cheese cake, it's pretty good. So there we are. And then we will take the spoon, the rest of the chocolate batter, and divide it over top of the cream cheese and cover it. So then it's all going to bake up and around it. And the 1 container of cream cheese was just enough to do 12 muffins. Okay, move this bowl out of our way, and now we're going to put the rest of our chocolate batter over top of the cream cheese. So I'm going to give each one half a tablespoon or so to start, just so I make sure I have enough. A very small tablespoon, just enough to cover the cream cheese, because I don't know. It doesn't say, most recipes in these kind of books say how many it makes, how many it serves. This one doesn't, but you can normally get 12 cupcakes or muffins out of one recipe. It's going to be real tight, but I think I can do it. Let's steal a little out of this guy. We gotta borrow a little bit from the others, from the neighbors here, because some of it has a little bit more than others. There, now, scrape this, scrape the bowl good, and I'll have just enough. So I think if you ever try these, instead of putting 2 heaping tablespoons in your muffin pan first, put like 1, 1.5, and then you'll have enough for toppings. You won't have to go back and forth like I did. So now these go into the oven to bake about 20 minutes. I'm going to put those right underneath my Meatza Pies. And the Meatza Pies are about done already. I'm going to give those like 3 more minutes or so, and then I will show you what they look like, and then I'll finish off the cupcakes. Muffins. Now these don't call for any frosting. You can dust them with powdered sugar, it says, or you can just leave them just like they are. So I will see you back here in a few minutes. Alrighty, we're back now. Our muffins and our Meatza Pie is done. Here are our Chocolate Surprise Muffins, and in a couple of them you can see the little surprise peeking through. You can see the cream cheese poking through. So there you can see that one's bigger than the other. That's where I didn't, kind of got a little heavy-handed with the tablespoon of frosting. They should be all about the same time, but they're okay. They're all done evenly. It doesn't matter. And then here's our Meatza Pie. There's the one with just the cheese. You can add more cheese in this. I just kind of cut it and spread it. Sometimes cheddar cheese melts a little better than others, but once I reheat this to have it with our supper tonight, it'll spread. And again, I'm going to serve this with mashed potatoes tonight, or maybe some noodles. We'll see what Dino Brody wants. Whatever he wants on his, he can have. So, and this is the one with the mushrooms. So again, toppings are optional. You can leave mushrooms on, put them off. Different kinds of cheeses, different kind of sauce. You can use pork instead of hamburger. Just remember when you use different flavors, different, like instead of beef, if you use pork, instead of mozzarella cheese, cheddar cheese, the flavors are going to change. It's still really yummy good, but the flavors are going to change. So I hope you all enjoy this. Try it. It's simple, it's easy. Let me know in the comments what you think, that you've tried it. And if you'd like to see anything else, then I'll be sure to get right on that. Have a good day, everybody now. Bye-bye.